All right, viewers, those are the headlines in our top focus. The signing of the agreement of the first stage of US President Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza is expected to take place at 12 p.m. Israeli time. Now, the ceasefire is expected to come into effect on the ground in Gaza once the deal is signed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is to convene a meeting of the Security Cabinet later today for the approval of this deal. Now, according to reports, within the first 24 hours of the signing of the agreement, the Israeli military would complete the first phase of partial withdrawal from certain areas of Gaza. The IDF has stated that it has begun operational preparations for the implementation of the Gaza agreement. However, it has stated that the IDF continues to be deployed in the region and is prepared for any other operational developments on the ground. There are reports that hostages may be released as early as next Monday, and reactions, of course, welcoming the peace deal are pouring in from across the world. Italy's foreign minister has welcomed the agreement, stating that Italy is ready to play its part and send troops if needed for peacekeeping. US Democratic Senate leader Chuck Schumer has stated that the work is not over yet and has welcomed any step towards ending the war in Gaza. Amnesty International has also commented that the truce deal was overdue and has called on Israel to immediately end the blockade. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Peter Baum, a foreign editor at the Weekly Blitz in London. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. A landmark moment is what we're witnessing. Trump has stated that the implementation will begin this weekend itself, and he's most likely to head to the Middle East on Sunday. Does this then pave the way for lasting peace? Sir, you're muted. I request you to unmute yourself kindly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, perfect. I'm so sorry about that. Well, as you can imagine, I have been up all night following events. I've been on Zoom calls, I've been texting, I've been on phone calls, etc., etc. And I've been on your program many times as a guest, and obviously every morally decent person in the world is absolutely delighted about where we're at the moment, because so many things could have gone wrong. It seems that at 9 a.m. UK time, so in about an hour's time, there will be a signing of the agreement. Netanyahu, from the information I have, despite some very right-wing members of his cabinet, will get the deal approved in cabinet. And therefore, for what Trump has done, bringing the parties together, it's quite a remarkable feat. One thing that stands out above all, actually two things that stands out above all, which your viewers and listeners may not be aware to and has been completely ignored by mainstream media, is the fact that the parent of Hamas, the totalitarian Shia theocracy in Iran, is completely isolated, has had no say nor any influence on this initiative by Donald Trump and the other active players, completely isolated. And the other thing that's very important, and again, something that I'm aware of and most analysts following events are aware of, but the public is certainly not aware of, is that just 24 hours ago, Hamas tried to enforce their influence in Gaza by attacking a very powerful Palestinian family clan who have been opposed to them, the Al-Mujahideen clan. Hamas sent 50 operatives on motorbikes into the family enclave, and they were utterly defeated, and perhaps as many as 25 of their operatives were killed. This in itself, knowing and that the family clan had much support in Gaza, this I think too played a very important role in Hamas's decision-making process, that they were no longer in control of the Gaza and the Palestinians. So those two additional features, completely ignored by mainstream media, are in themselves two very important factors, I think, in influencing the decision by Hamas to finally agree to a phased implementation of the Trump ceasefire plan.
All right, so I request you to stay on with us. I'll, of course, carry forward the point you've been making. But in the meantime, Israelis in Jerusalem have celebrated the announcement of the peace deal in Gaza and the expected return of the hostages. Locals gathered in cafes and public spaces, checking on news on their phones and discussing this landmark moment. Residents have expressed their joy and hope, praising the leaders involved in the deal. This announcement has brought a sense of relief and optimism across Israel, with many hoping that it marks the start of lasting peace and safety for families affected by the two-year-long conflict. Listen in to what they've had to say.
Very exciting day. Finally, the time is come. And thank God and thank President Trump, and also thank for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that we hope these coming days, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, we'll see our brothers and sisters coming back to Israel after 2 years in the prison of the Nazis in Gaza. And thank God we are coming for good days. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm sure all of Israel is very happy today. And let's hope from this day we are going to better days for the next future.
We're so happy to hear that the hostages are coming back. This is this is the joy that we are waiting for this holiday. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Netanyahu. Thank you.
To see the families of the hostages celebrating and drinking l'chaim and celebrating in the hostage square the minute this came out, I can't even imagine the way they feel. I know I feel elated. They must just feel the burden of the world off of their shoulders. And this is just another great day for Israel, and a great day for the world.
Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Peter Baum. Of course, we could see the elation in Israel, but you were referring to, the internal tussle between different factions in Palestine. What challenges do you foresee in reconciling these factions within the framework of this peace plan down the line?
Yeah, no, a great question, and I don't see any reconciliation, and let me explain why. Hamas have been funded, supported, created, if you like, by a non-Arab Shia theocracy in Iran. The vast majority of Palestinians are non-Shia, as you know, and it's because of that religious divide and support that Hamas gave to the Shias that I think will divide Palestinian society. The Palestinians know that Hamas, despite their hatred for Israel, the Palestinians recognize that it has Hamas that has brought the Palestinians and the Gazans to the depths of despair. So I have no belief that the Palestinians will unite. They are a divided society, and may I say, as much as Israel is a divided society. Obviously, for the time being, for the short period, domestically, everyone in Israel is ecstatic that the war is ended and the hostages will get home. But let's see what happens in the weeks to come if this deal comes to fruition, because Netanyahu will be under huge pressure for prolonging the war. Many in Israel believe that the war should have been ended sooner, and his government is very fragile. The right wing could easily bring it down. It reminds me of a similar case to the United Kingdom and Churchill after World War II. Churchill, in many ways, was the reason why the UK defeated the Nazis, but at the next election was defeated. I can see something similar replicating itself in Israel. Netanyahu has undoubtedly defeated the Iranian proxies, not only Hamas and Hezbollah, etc., but domestically, the society is split. And if there were an election today, the polls actually reckon that Netanyahu would not be the next prime minister. So for the moment, joy, ecstasy all round, but both Palestinians and Palestinian society and Israeli society, I fear, will be completely divided going forward.
All right, so requesting you to stay on with us. We're tracking further updates from the Middle East. The Gaza Civil Defense Agency has reported several strikes on its territory after the announcement of the agreed peace plan. The defense agency has stated that since last night, after the framework was put into force, several explosions have been reported, particularly in the areas of northern Gaza. They've cited a series of intense airstrikes. Earlier, US President Donald Trump had stated that Israel and Hamas have reached a long-sought deal for a ceasefire and hostage prisoner swap under his plan for ending the war. Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Peter Baum. Sir, I wanted to understand from you what lessons can be learned from previous international peace efforts in Gaza when implementing the current plan to ensure a sustained peace in the region.
Yeah, I think what we've seen in the last 2 years is how absurd the United Nations is. One American diplomat referred to the United Nations as the theatre of the absurd. This should be the body that is the main influencer and creator of ensuring nation states get along with each other. It has failed miserably. The Biden administration failed in the United Nations. The Trump administration has ignored the United Nations and set out on its own agenda, and it looks as if that is the way to go forward. But as a body, I think in the last couple of years, the United Nations has shown itself up to be influenced by bloc members, and such as the Arab bloc has, or the Muslim bloc has 54 member states, all voting together as one. The European Union has 27 member states all voting together as one. You might as well have just 5 or 6 parties in the United Nations and not the 194 nations there are. So I think, to answer your question, what lessons can be learned, I think the lessons are that the United Nations should be bypassed. All the talk, all the rhetoric, all the speeches by various world leaders are absolutely meaningless, and it takes the initiative of one very, very strong leader, in this case Donald Trump, with the will to bring the parties together and to create something, which he has done. And I think any future conflicts, so long as someone like Trump is in power in the United States, will go that route. It will be up to a few very strong leaders to create the climate and conditions for peaceful resolutions, and not the United Nations, which is just like 2 football sides on 2 opposing football teams. It's an absurd organisation, and if anything, that needs to be considered of how it can be reformed.
All right, so with that, I would like to thank you for taking out time sharing your analysis